At exactly 12:17 a.m., the deeply isolated rural route becomes a closed system of torrential rain and lightning. Inside, the environment is defined by its isolation: a driver, a conductor, and 4 passengers moving through a pitch-black landscape. This routine is shattered when a woman in a white sari flags down the bus from the darkness of the roadside. Upon boarding, she refuses to interact. She hides her face behind wet hair and moves past the other passengers to claim the most isolated seat at the very back. By picking up a solitary stranger in these extreme conditions, the crew has introduced an unknown and potentially volatile variable into their previously secure environment. The interaction begins when the conductor moves toward the back to collect a standard fare. The woman provides no name or specific destination, offering only a whispered request for the last stop. Immediately, the bus's internal climate shifts. The temperature drops into a biting, unnatural cold that contradicts the humid monsoon air outside. This thermal drop triggers a sudden accumulation of thick, white condensation on the windows, blinding the occupants to everything outside the vehicle. The bus has transformed into a sealed, anomalous space where the usual rules of the transit route no longer apply. The frightening event reaches a critical point with a total electrical death, plunging the interior into absolute darkness. When the emergency lights flicker back to life, the rear of the bus is empty. The passenger has entirely vanished from her seat. Physical escape was impossible. The doors remained mechanically sealed, and every window was locked from the inside while the bus was in motion. The only evidence left behind is the ticket issued moments earlier, sitting bone dry on the seat where the drenched woman had been sitting. The disappearance defies the laws of physical reality, shifting the situation from a passenger evasion into a locked room anomaly. The driver, overwhelmed by the impossible vacancy, breaks protocol and speeds recklessly toward the final terminal. At the stop, an elderly man is already waiting. He doesn't ask what happened. He asks if the woman appeared again. 5 years ago tonight, a newlywed bride died in a crash on this exact road. Now her spirit is trapped in a localized temporal loop. She attempts the journey every monsoon, but the anomaly forces a reset right before the terminal, ensuring she never finishes. The woman's disappearance aligns with the mechanics of this haunting. She is bound to the route, but the cycle dictates she must vanish before the journey is completed. This entity demonstrates an active consciousness that reacts to the living people currently on the bus. The threat moves from the physical to the digital when the conductor's phone vibrates with an incoming call from an unknown number. When he answers, he hears the passenger's voice. She is no longer whispering. She is asserting that her ticket is still in his possession. The signal cuts out, but the interaction has bridged the gap between the isolated loop on the road and the personal reality of the crew. The haunting has shifted from a passive repetition into an active hunt, turning the crew from witnesses into targets. By the next morning, the storm has passed, and the crew returns to the bus to inspect the physical evidence in the daylight. They locate the ticket left on the rear seat to verify the serial numbers. The paper has undergone a metamorphosis. All the printed ink, the fare, the date, and the route has vanished from the surface. In place of the original print is a new handwritten message. Next passenger, you. Encountering the midnight passenger is a mechanism for a contagious curse. By interacting with the loop, the survivor has been marked as the next inevitable victim of the cycle.